Hello, beloved community. Well, the last sermon I preached in this space was about Canoeing the Mountains on March 8th, where I talked about the book based on the Lewis and Clark expedition that basically the writer was comparing the fact that Lewis and Clark thought they were going to find the Northwest Passage. They were going to find a river route to the Pacific Ocean. That was their mission. They were experienced. They knew how to get there. They got to the Continental Divide. They expected to find this river that would take them to the Pacific Ocean, and instead they found the Rocky Mountains. And the writer compares that to what the church was facing in the 21st century. We know how to be the church of 50 years ago or 100 years ago. We don't know how to be the church of the 21st century when everything's changed. And so I preached this sermon blithely thinking, we'll keep doing the wonderful things we've started at Sylvan. We'll do supper church, we'll do wild church, we'll do creative stuff with the children, we'll build this community, and that will be different. I had no idea what the Rocky Mountains were going to look like. In fact, the Rocky Mountains look like a virus. And it brings to mind the H.G. Wells War of the Worlds story, the one where the Martians show up in their big machines and they're destroying the earth and there's nothing that humans can do about it and it looks like everything is lost. And then all of a sudden the ship opens up and the Martian sneezes, catches a cold, and it wipes out the invaders. A virus did something an entire army couldn't. That's our Rocky Mountain. So, how do we be the church? Well, we can't come and be the church together. I don't know how to minister when we can't gather. That's what I'm good at, is gathering people and talking to you and eating with you and being with you and visiting you, and we can't do that anymore. And so we're going to try new ways. Because above all, we are still called to be the church. And being the church means connecting. Even in a time of social distancing, even in a time of self-isolation, even in a time of fear and worry and unknown and uncertainty, we are still called to connect. And I have to say, I have loved some of the creative and fun and inventive ways that people all over the world are connecting. Today, I was watching a video, I think ABC News posted it, of a fitness instructor in Seville, Spain, where people are in their apartment buildings, massive city, people are in apartment buildings, they come out onto the balconies every so often, or they're behind their windows, they can't even come out. And so this fitness instructor got on the roof of some building, and he was leading an aerobics class, and the camera panned around to all of these people in these apartments who were doing the squats and doing the jumping jacks and participating together. Last week, my family and I, well, Beth and I, because the girls got kind of bored, our favorite choir, we used to participate in Toronto. You go down to the pub a couple times a week, and Naboo, David and Naboo would lead this choir, where they'd pick a song and they'd break us into high, middle, and low, and we'd all drink beer, and by the end of it, we'd sing 3-part harmony. And so, of course, we can't do that anymore, and they did it on Facebook Live, and thousands of us from our living rooms sang along and were able to connect. And we actually saw friends in Toronto that we hadn't seen in a while through that event, and we were able to say hello. There are artists who are doing drawing classes, and authors who are reading, and museums that are opening their doors. All around the world, people are figuring out how to connect through this amazing thing we call technology. And so the church, my friends, we need to learn how to canoe the mountains, because what we know, what we're good at, what we do best, it's not going to work. So we need to figure out how to do it differently. And hopefully we can do it through things like videos. We will have Lenten study, Wendell Berry's Sabbath poetry. We'll do the Lenten study via Zoom. We are going to watch the moderator's live streamed worship service from Toronto on Sunday morning, and I am inviting the congregation. We're going to join together on Zoom afterward with a cup of coffee or tea or whatever your favorite beverage is, and we will get together in our own living rooms and join together and talk about the service, talk about how we're doing, talk about, is it well with your soul? I will be phoning people in the congregation just to say hi and see how are you doing. What do you need? Can you phone somebody? Do you need a phone call? Do you need toilet paper? Have you got toilet paper? Can you donate some toilet paper? All those good things. Because, my friends, we are called to connect. I was off for a week, and I knew before I left that the lectionary reading for this week was The Man Born Blind. And at that point, coronavirus, we were just starting to hear about it, and I thought, oh, ha, 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 God has such a sense of humor to pick the lectionary reading about how Jesus spits in the mud and then rubs it on the man's eye, to preach on a Sunday where we can't even touch each other, we can't even be within 2 meters of each other, let alone spitting in mud and rubbing it on somebody's eye. But the story speaks so strongly to me of social isolation, of what it means to be kept apart. This man was kept apart because he was born blind, for no other reason. And everyone assumed it was because he'd done something wrong, or his parents had done something wrong, that God was in the blindness. And God's wrath was the thing that kept them apart, and you had to stay apart so you didn't catch God's wrath, God's displeasure, whatever it was. In fact, he keeps getting asked, so what happened? What happened? I mean, even the disciples, they see this man born blind walking along with Jesus, the disciples who presumably know what Jesus is up to. And their question isn't, how can we help this person? How can we include him? The question is, oh, so who sinned here? Was it him or his parents? And Jesus has to explain, no, the sin is in the distance that you have enforced on him. We need to connect. We are made to connect. Even the introverts who are celebrating that extroverts like me are not in your face all the time, even we need to connect. And so, my friends, we will try our best. And I confess, I don't know how to do this. I have never had to be the minister in a time of a pandemic before. And so I hope that you will be gentle with me and that you will help me figure it out, because together we are stronger. I have been reading the quote from Julian of Norwich a lot lately and trying to hold that in my heart. She was an anchorite, somebody who walled herself into the abbey in Norwich, and people came to her for advice and counsel and brought her the news and looked to her for wisdom. And two things really stood out for me. One is her vision of God holding the whole world as small as a hazelnut and saying this, all of this is beloved. The thing I'm really hanging on to these days are the words, all will be well, all shall be well, and all manner of things will be well. So, we don't know what it's going to look like. I have no easy answers. I just have faith that God is here with us as we figure it out. There is no wilderness that God is not already part of. So, beloved community, I hope this helps. I hope to see many of you at coffee hour after the moderator's worship on Sunday, and I hope to speak to many of you on the phone or on the internet soon. And I hope, above all, that you know you are not alone, and all shall be well. Thanks be to God.